Though I have not read any of the books, not even when I was in my teens and what have you, but I actually saw this movie based on a popular kids horror series. Let's talk about the film version of R.L. Stine's Goosebumps. Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. So greetings my fellow YouTubers and welcome to Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. My name's Doyle, better known to you as the Big D, and this time around I bring to you a review of the 2015 horror comedy Goosebumps, released by Columbia for Sony Pictures Animation, Original Films, Village Roadshow, and Scholastic. The film was directed by Rob Lerman, who recently, before this, helmed the dull version of Gulliver's Travels with Jack Black, who happens to be in this movie. Plus, of course, he also co-directed, worked on DreamWorks Animation's Shark Tale and Monsters vs. Aliens as well. And after this, he would direct Detective Pikachu. Now, there have been possibilities for Goosebumps since 1998 with Steve Byrne attached to direct this, but after failing to find a script to determine which book to adapt, the project was halted. Well, it took some time, and Columbia got to release this film in October of 2015. Of course, it's based on the book series of the same names by R.L. Stine, who is played by Jack Black as a fictionalized version of Mr. Stine, who teams up with his teenage neighbor to save their hometown after all of the monsters from the Goosebumps franchise escape from his works, wreaking havoc in the real world. Let's get into our story. After his father's death, Zach Cooper and his mother Gail moved from New York City to the small town of Madison, Delaware. Settling in the neighborhood, Zach meets his neighbor Hannah, whose overprotective father tells him to stay away. The next morning, at the local high school where Gail is introduced as the new vice principal, Zach befriends Champ, a cowardly but friendly student. That night, Hannah invites Zach to an abandoned amusement park where they get to know each other. However, upon returning home, Hannah's father again warns him to stay away. Later, Gail has to supervise a school dance, leaving Zach with his Aunt Lorraine. Fearing Hannah is in danger, Zach tricks her father into going to the police station while he and Champ enter his house. They find a bookshelf with numerous locked manuscripts, each one cataloging entries from the Goosebumps franchise. In response to Champ's curiosity, Zach unlocks the abominable snowman of Pasadena, releasing the story's titular monster. With Hannah's help, they track it to a local ice rink where Hannah's father appears and re-imprisons it in the manuscript. Hannah's father unintentionally reveals he is R.L. Stine, the creator of the Goosebumps franchise. He originally wrote the stories to cope with severe bullying, but the monsters featured in them came to life, forcing him to imprison them in their manuscripts. Back home, they find Slappy the Dummy from the Night of the Living Dummy series, now freed from his manuscript. Seeking revenge on Stine for his imprisonment, Slappy incinerates his manuscript, which prevents the monsters from being re-imprisoned before fleeing with the rest of them. Stine and the kids are attacked by the gnomes from Revenge of the Lawn Gnomes and are forced to escape. Slappy releases several monsters, causing havoc around Madison. Meanwhile, Lorraine is attacked by Fifi the Vampire Poodle from Please Don't Feed the Vampire. Zack convinces Stine to recapture the monsters by writing a single manuscript, but it can only be done with a supernatural typewriter, which is currently on display at the high school. Along the way, they are attacked by Brent Green from My Best Friend is Invisible and the Giant Mantis from A Shocker on Shock Street, forcing them to hide in the supermarket. Will Blake from the Werewolf of Fever Swamp chases them to the parking lot where he's run over by Lorraine, who survived Fifi's attack. Stine and the kids go through a cemetery where Zach sees Hannah become ghost-like in the moonlight before being attacked by the zombies from Attack of the Graveyard Ghouls. Arriving at the school, Zach confronts Stine privately. His daughter is Hannah Fairchild from The Ghost Next Door, and he originally created her to cope with his loneliness. But Hannah is unaware of this. Stine begins to write a story based on the events around him, while Zack and Champ try to warn everyone, but nobody believes them until the mantis attacks the building. Slappy releases the rest of the monsters and orders them to storm the school. Despite the best efforts of the school staff and students to keep the monsters out, they break in nonetheless. Slappy finds Stine breaking his fingers with a typewriter's case before he can finish the story. Now for the ending. You know the procedure, like always. You have 5 seconds to sub this video. Go to the description box below and fast forward to the time below. If you've seen the movie already, continue on after the 5 seconds. Here we go. Okay, you've been warned. Stine and the kids trick the monsters into following a school bus rigged with explosives while they grab another and head for the abandoned amusement park. Realizing the ruse, Slappy tracks them down and releases the blob from the blob that ate everyone as the other monsters arrive. Stine confronts it and is devoured while the trio seek refuge in the park's Ferris wheel, where Zack finishes the story just before the structure is damaged by the mantis, causing it to roll towards the forest. After surviving the ordeal, Zack refuses to open the story's manuscript because Hannah will also be sucked in, but she reveals she knew the truth about herself all along and opens it, sucking the monsters into it, kissing Zack before accepting her fate. Sometime later, Stine begins working as a substitute teacher at the school while starting a relationship with Lorraine. After class, Stine reveals to Zack that he brought Hannah back into reality by writing a new copy of her story. When Zack and Hannah leave together, Stine incinerates the copy and prepares to leave, but then finds his typewriter writing by itself. To his horror, Brent Green was admitted in the monster's imprisonment and is using the typewriter to write a new Goosebumps story entitled The Invisible Boy's Revenge. End of story. So what did I think of Goosebumps? Well, since I've only seen it once or twice, I'm going to say I did have some fun watching this movie. As much as I actually, let me start over. Well, like I said, I've never read the books though. I have looked at a few of them, but never got to read one. And I did see the Goosebumps TV series that aired on the Fox network in the mid to late 90s. Which I think you can find all that on Netflix. Not sure if I'll revisit it, but you never can tell. But anyway, I really thought it was pretty cool. This movie was. Now, I like the performances we got from the cast, including Jack Black as R.L. Stine. He was absolutely good. He also provides the voices for Slappy, the dummy, and Brent Green. Next, playing Zack is Dylan Minnette, and Odeya Rush plays Hannah. Yes, they're pretty good. Ryan Lee plays Champ, and Amy Ryan plays Gail, and Jillian Bell plays Lorraine. Yeah, really something. But anyway, now if you watch closely, you will see the real R.L. Stine. He has a cameo as a drama teacher at Madison High School, but he's credited as hallway player. Anyway, really something. This movie is an absolute fun-filled event. It was really cool when they brought in all the monsters from the Goosebumps series into one whole flick. This was a big surprise film. The film does have a good score done by the legendary Danny Elfman. And also, it has some pretty good songs you get to hear. Anyway, the songs were pretty good too. But anyway, the movie did pretty well and got good reviews and what have you. The film went on to make 158 million worldwide, and it got a lot of good reception from the critics, which they praised the humor and many references to the Goosebumps franchise. Yes, I do agree with them on that. It was a pretty good, spectacular family film. And I gotta say, I really enjoyed it. So anyway, with good direction, a good cast, good story, good humor, and all that jazz, plus a good score by Danny Elfman, the question is, would I recommend Goosebumps? I would say yes, definitely. This is perfect for the whole family to watch, and I think you'll really like it. It's pretty fun in ways. But anyway, the film did well, and 3 years later, we would get a sequel, which I'll be reviewing later on in the form of Goosebumps 2 Haunted Halloween. But anyway, what are your thoughts on Goosebumps? You can tell me in the comments section below. If you like this video, click the like button, subscribe to my channel, and be a part of the Big D Nation. Join me next time when I bring to you a review of the first of the few spin-offs of the Conjuring universe in the form of Annabelle. Thank you for watching, and if you like this, you may want to consider channeling these other spectacular flicks for your family and what have you. In the upper left-hand corner is my review of The Babysitter's Guide to Monster Hunting, which came out on Netflix last year, or go to the upper right hand corner and see my review of one of my absolute favorite Scooby-Doo animated features, Scooby-Doo and the Reluctant Werewolf from 1988. Or go to the bottom left hand corner and see my review of the original live action Scooby-Doo movie from 2002. And the bottom right hand corner is the button you can click to subscribe. If you like rankings and reviews on movies, TV, music, video games, etc., then I'm your guy. Thank you for watching. Until next time, I'm the Big D saying, see ya.